Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another Set 11 ban list video. Today we're talking about the 5 losers from the Vermilion Bloodline ban list. And if you didn't see yesterday's video, the 5 winners of the ban list, make sure to check that out after this video. But anyways, guys, if you are new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss a video. If you want to help the channel out, there are a lot of ways to do that down in the description below. Make sure to check out the Gem app and the Patreon for a one-on-one coaching with yours truly, as well as your cross-world competitive articles. Make sure to check out Dex Protection down in the description below for all your sleeves, deck boxes, binder needs for all your new Set 11 Vermilion Bloodline cards. And finally, guys, TCG Player down in the description if you want to buy or pre-order anything you see in today's video. That being said, let's get started here. So the first and most obvious loser of the Set 11 ban list is going to be Vermilion. Now, what is the reason? Well, if you haven't heard until this video, Bibbidi Primeval Conjurer, the text you see on the screen is not quite how it's going to operate going forward. What it's going to instead do is it will still gain 1000 power for each card in the warp and drop area if all your energy is black, but it's going to max out at a capacity of 12k. So with its base 3k combo power, Bibbidi will only be able to match up to a 15k combo, and to be honest, that doesn't make Bibbidi any better than any regular super combo, especially even black ones that just draw a card and have a base 10k combo power. And the reason that is because when you use a super combo that draws a card, it'll have its base 10k, and that card you draw, I mean, this can vary depending on what deck you're playing, but 9 times out of 10, most of the time, you're going to draw a 5k combo off of that super combo, meaning it's a 15k super combo. Now, I guess when you consider that variance, I guess you can say Bibbidi is cool because it's a guaranteed 15k super combo, but then there are going to be other instances where you really do want a super combo that kind of filters through your deck and draws you cards. So it really just seems like the new Vegeta super combo coming out in set 11 is going to outclass Bibbidi in almost every way, because when you're able to bottom deck a dead card and potentially draw into 2 more 5ks, or like a 5k and a 10k or another super combo, that value I think is going to completely outclass Bibbidi. But regardless, Vermilion is one of the biggest losers of this Bibbidi nerf because it was the deck that abused Bibbidi the best. And the reason was, well, there are a few reasons really. One of which was the burst 5, which, you know, you could burst 5, you could overall out of Trunks, and then you could play your Reluctant Reinforcements Vegeta, which would burst you another 5. So that's already, you know, more than 5 cards between your drop and your warp, giving Bibbidi super combo potential, you know, as early as turn 1, turn 2 in the game, which was crazy powerful. So Vermilion's milling the most cards out of any leader. You could even awaken, burst 5 on your unawakened side, burst 5 on your awakened side in the same turn. So that power that Bibbidi could get there really was unrivaled when you compare that to other black decks, which is kind of crazy to think about. And then when you consider that, you also consider the fact that this deck had access to 1, Fu Mission Accomplished, and 2, Vermilion Space-Time Synthesis, 2 cards that were integral to the engine of Vermilion and allow you to recycle your Bibbidi's. This deck had the best way to fill Bibbidi's power level and the best ways to recycle the Bibbidi super combos. So with Bibbidi seeing such a big nerf, it means that Vermilion is taking a big hit from this ban list. Now, let's talk about this. Will Vermilion be completely phased out of the format? It's tough to say, because when we first initially saw the Universe 3 cards get banned, I predicted that Vermilion would move to more of a mid-range strategy, and that ended up not working too well for Vermilion for a few reasons, and we talk about this a lot. When you're playing a black deck, you don't have some of the impactful negates or impactful counterplays, more so counterplays that you're missing when you're playing black, that stop your opponent's strategies, and that's going to be very integral to playing a mid-range or control deck in Dragon Ball Super. I mean, what's really unfortunate is black just doesn't have any of those free counterplays that come along with unisons. Black just doesn't have one in the game. It's kind of unfortunate. So with that being the case, you know, you do have decent negates, you do have power burst, but it's not like a floodgate type of negate. You do have Protector of the People, but that's only good in specific matchups, albeit it's amazing in those matchups. But besides that, it's tough for Vermilion to play mid-range when you compare to other decks like yellow mid-range, for example, that have like SS4 Vegeta Prideful Transformation, cards like that, cards like Giant Ball, and then you compare to blue where you have like God Slaying Technique Trunks and God Slicing Kamehameha. It's a little bit more tough to play Vermilion as a mid-range deck in those instances. So will people still try to play Vermilion as aggression, or will they try to play it as mid-range? Well, it seems like it's going to be tough to play it as aggro, because when Bibbidi was at full power, you could turn your Supreme Kai of Time Space-Time Guardians into 25k threats with 1 combo card, right? That was, you know, one of the big reasons why Vermilion was able to be so aggressive. I mean, when you still consider the fact that, you know, you mill 5, you have the potential to play your time agents, both your time agents, as well as your Supreme Kais and your Unison. That's still pretty great value. So on the face of it, Vegex is still going to generate a lot of value inherently as a leader, and I do think that's going to be quite good for the archetype. But can it be as aggressive without Bibbidi? It just doesn't seem very, very likely. Again, I'm totally open to being wrong. I very much could be wrong, but I think this deck loses a ton of power from the Bibbidi nerf. I don't think it'll be fully phased out of the format, but I don't think it'll be, you know, taking 3 spots out of the top 8 like we've seen for, what is it now, 3 events in a row. I just don't think it's going to be that type of consistent or that type of powerful as we go forward into this. But regardless, Vegex, probably the most obvious and biggest loser of the ban list. Next up, let's talk about Black Boo. This is very, very unfortunate to see because this deck did a whole lot in set 9. It was one of the strongest aggro decks out there, and then Vegex kind of came in and outclassed it with its own archetype. Vegex Boo was seeing more success than Boo was with its own archetype, which is kind of unfortunate. And one of the biggest things Boo is losing is, once again, Bibbidi. Boo was always capped at that hand size limit. You were always only really going to have 5 or 6 cards in your hand at the end of each turn. And Bibbidi is one of the reasons that that could be acceptable, was because you would have a very, very strong super combo to make up for the lack of combo power in your hand. And now that Bibbidi is down to its 15k maximum, Boo does take a really, really big hit from this. Again, the Vegeta super combo will probably be quite good in Boo, but is Boo ever going to reach the level of dominance that Vegex can reach with its own engine? It's honestly tough to say. I mean, Vegex just mills your Boo pieces straight from the deck, as where Boo has to draw into them and discard them. So it's tough to say. I think the fact that Vegex has to pretty much play with no hand after doing the Boo chain, as where Boo can refuel, I do think that will matter at some point down the road. Especially now that, you know, Vegex can't just pay 2 for Fu Mission Accomplished to add back Bibbidi. I do think that will matter at some point down the road, but will it be enough to bring Boo back into the format, back into the meta? Only time will tell. I actually strongly urge you guys to test this, to play around with this if you like Boo, if you like black aggro, and see if Boo can retake the place that Vegex may be, you know, leaving to be filled after the nerfs here. But again, I do urge you guys to do that. That'd be pretty cool to see. Next up, this is more of like a concept than like a deck loser or like a strategy loser, but really just now black doesn't have a super combo that compares to any of these super combos here. And these are the multicolor super combos. Bibbidi came out in the same set, and these super combos really do generate a lot of value. You know, Android 18 Bionic Blitz, it's great in your blue and green hand control decks. Zamasu Sacred Disbelief gets you that tap of either tapping a leader or a battle card, and that can mean the difference between your opponent drawing a card from their leader. That could also be the difference of you're going for game, you're tapping one of their 5k or 10k combos, meaning they can't combo with those cards. That's really big value there. And then We Celestial Moderator can be up to a 20k combo on its own because you combo it for 10k and then minus 10 whatever's attacking, right? So that's pretty strong value there, and it is kind of unfortunate that now black is just not going to have that same value in its super combo slot, you know. And of course, maybe they'll print something, maybe they'll print a Power Corrupt Bibbidi that, you know, maybe caps out at 20k. Maybe that would be acceptable, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Actually, how would you guys feel if they printed a retrained Bibbidi that maxes out at 20k power? You know, it could be a different character or a different type of super combo for black, but what if they did that? How'd you feel about that? Let me know in the comments below. But anyways, moving on, Bardock Progenitor, big loser from this ban list. Now I will say, I don't think anyone expected Scrambling Assault Sun Goten to come off the set 11 ban list, and it was pretty cool to see, to be honest. The first time we're getting a card back from the ban list instead of, you know, more cards being added. Could Bardock have came back on that ban list? It's really tough to say. It kind of does seem like Bardock does a lot more than Goten does, and that might sound crazy to some people, but for the 1-drop 10k attacker, you know, criteria, Bardock gets you to Self-Awaken. Goten gets you to, you know, top 3 of your deck, but Goten is vulnerable to die after you use it. Bardock can come back to your hand for, you know, 0 energy, 0 investment. It's a 1-drop 10k potential attacker that gets you Self-Awaken and comes back to your hand to preserve you card advantage. That's really strong. So when you look at it, they both get you cards, although I will say taking a life is not the same as plussing like Goten does, but in the strategies that will abuse Bardock, I think he'll be more oppressive than Goten will be. But as we saw in yesterday's video, we're getting more Height of Mastery, or I guess more particularly Goku's lineage support in March 2021. So who knows, maybe Bardock will come off the ban list come around that time, or maybe they'll print like maybe a more balanced version of Bardock. I I really think an errata to Bardock that says you can only play this card once per turn, like the Broly 1-drops have, maybe that could be sufficient. I don't know, but we'll see as time progresses with that stuff. And another loser of the set 11 ban list, Weskai Keeping Watch and Negotiator Krillin. I was talking about these cards a lot in set 10 format because they were some of the best answers to Bibity we had in the game. Weskai being the much more generic one, Negotiator Krillin being the better one, but only being playable in green. I'm assuming these cards are probably going to leave most side decks and even main decks going into set 11. There's just not a combo card that's too oppressive that these cards are going to be required to be played, right? So I don't think they're going to see too much playability after the Bibity nerfs come into effect. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do want to know what you think about this video. Let me know if you think there are any other losers from the set 11 ban list. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.